That's hot. Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome to this Q&A video, or me answering very personal questions. So I saw this video going around on YouTube for the past month or so, and I thought, why don't I join this? It's not like I'm original or anything like that. I asked everyone on social media, by the way, you should follow me. I asked everyone to tell me ask me personal questions and I answer, no matter how awkward or personal they may seem. I will try to answer all of them, and I got a lot. Didn't think I was gonna get this much, and a lot of them are very similar to what I get asked on social media posts or randomly on my YouTube videos, so I figured I'll start off by answering the questions that I get asked a lot, and then we'll dive into the very interesting questions. Interesting is a big keyword here. So, the questions that I get asked a lot is, how old am I? What is my ethnicity? Do I have a boyfriend? And how did I get into YouTube? So first of all, I am 26 years old. I understand that people think I'm 17 or something like that because I look really young. You can thank my Asian genes, which dives into my next question. I am Asian, but more specifically, I am half Filipino and half Sri Lankan. And the next question is, do I have a boyfriend? No, I am married though. I do have a husband. And how I got started on YouTube, I actually did make YouTube videos a long time ago when I was in high school. They were comedy sketches and stuff like that. They're still on YouTube. If anyone can find them, please go ahead and find them. But I used to do that with my friends, and then I also made those people who made music videos of The Sims 3 and 2 to songs and stuff like that. I did that as well. It's very cringy. I think I deleted that channel though, but I used to do that kind of stuff. And when I reached college, I started doing animation stuff. That channel, unfortunately, I had to take it down because of YouTube's new COPPA thing. I didn't want to get in trouble, even though I'm not violating any rules. I just took it down for safety. Maybe if I can find one of my old animations, I'll put them up on screen. And then now I have this channel, and how I got into this channel was just because I wanted to do something different. I wanted something that would be another creative outlet, and because I'm a gamer, I've been a gamer since I was a little kid, and I love to share that with other people. So I figured, why not just make a gaming channel? It's not because everyone else was doing it, I swear. Okay, now we're gonna get into the more interesting and personal questions that you guys have left for me. First one is, how did I know I was bi? I didn't really know until I was in my early 20s, but I had a feeling when I was younger, elementary school to early high school freshman year. I kind of knew, but I didn't understand it because I grew up in a Catholic school and a Catholic surrounding, so obviously that sexuality wasn't really something that was talked about, but I didn't understand what bisexuality meant, which anyone doesn't know. It means that you're attracted to both male and female. But I didn't understand that. So when I did start having attraction to females, I was just oh, I have a girl crush on them. That's kind of how I pictured it, because people talk about, oh, you have a girl crush on them, you admire them. That's kind of what girl crushes meant. So I just thought, oh, maybe it's because I admire them, I just think they're really pretty or something like that. But I didn't understand the concept of I could like girls, if that makes sense. I just thought there was straight and gay people. That's all I thought, gays and lesbians. That's all I thought. I didn't know there's other spectrums of sexuality, and I didn't understand that until I got a little bit older. I had a feeling of it early 20s. I'm I think maybe I do like girls, because I always I was always sexually attracted to girls and males as well, both male and female. So I was just I think I am. So it just took me until my 20s to be yeah, I think I am. It's interesting because people always say oh, how do you know when you were bi? How do you you don't have to be at a certain age to know. It kind of comes as is as you grow. Here's another question: how sexual are you? I think I'm on the normal scale of things. What moment of your life was the scariest, and what moment of your life was the happiest? I think the scariest moment was when my house got broken into and I was home alone and I was asleep. So can you imagine someone breaking down your door and you're asleep and you just woke up to this loud banging noise? I think the happiest moment would be, I know people would say oh, the day they got married or something like that, which is true. I am very happy that I got married to Adam and stuff like that, but I think for me personally, it would be when we first met, I have this whole video, we've recorded a video earlier discussing our relationship and stuff like that, so if you're interested in that, I won't go into too much detail because we talk about it in the video, but when we first met, that was probably like the happiest moment ever, just because of like how important he is to me, so I'd say that. Do you have any siblings and do you get along with them? I have one sibling, a younger brother. I have talked about him in a lot of my videos, and I get along with him pretty well just because we're very close in age, and we like similar things anyway because of the things we grew up, we both like the same things, so I get along pretty well with him. What is the most memorable obstacle that you have faced or facing until now? I think it would be counted as facing until now, but that would be dealing with my depression and anxiety. That is something that I am proud that I'm kind of taking care of now, and something that I'm still dealing with just because it's impacted me since I was a kid and I really didn't know how to handle it. But now that I've gotten like help for it and like, you know, opened up about, I even talked about, this is not a secret, like I've talked about this in videos and talked about this on streams too, so now that I'm talking about it more and like discussing with the people in my life, I feel like I have a better handling on it than I did a few years ago, so that's something that I'm, you know, very proud of. So a lot of you guys also, I should have added this in the beginning, but a lot of you guys asked if I have any kids or if I want kids and if I plan to have kids and all that stuff. I don't have any kids, but yes, I would like to have some kids someday, just not right now, especially not right now. Where are you from? I am from Canada. I am Canadian, North American, where the polar bears are, and we have maple syrup and Tim Hortons. I don't know what other stereotypes you guys give us, so. Have I ever kissed a girl? No. Do you sell nudes? No. When did you meet Michaela, Sharky, and Christy? How I met Michaela, Sharky, and Christy, well, it's very interesting. I think the first person I met was Sharky. She was the one who messaged me first, I think on Twitter, and then we started talking to one another. Christy also messaged me through like comments on my videos, and then we did collaborations with a bunch of videos with her first. And Michaela was the last person that I ended up talking to, and she found me through playing her games because she created Seduce Me, and we got to talking. Then eventually all of us were added into the same group chat, and we were like, hey, we get along pretty well. So we became pretty close friends. I can just you know, confidently say that these girls are like one of the most important people in my lives. Like, I could come to them and tell them anything and they won't judge me, they'll be there for me. And it's very interesting because I've never actually met any of them in real life. People always think that, you know, Michaela, Sharky, and Christy, like all of us, we've known each other for a very long time, and we like met in person. We haven't met each other. I think the only two who have met is Sharky and Michaela. They met each other, but like for like all of us in the same room, no, we haven't. Top or bottom? I'm more of a bottom. Is that too much information? Was it difficult to start recording yourself playing games? I wouldn't say it's difficult to play the game. It was more difficult for me being on camera and like speaking out loud and stuff like that. Because if you look at my old videos, the very first upload that I uploaded on my channel, it got deleted, but I re-uploaded it. It's the Game of Thrones Let's Play that I did. That was my first video on this channel, and you can hear how like, you know, timid and like, oh, I'm just talking and I don't know what to say. I sound like that because I was so terrified of talking in front of people because I had this like terrible incident when I was a child, which kind of caused me, and adding on top of that I have anxiety, so I talk fast like normally, and it causes me to stutter, and I had this stutter since I was a kid too, so it's very noticeable when I talk in front of people I don't know, or in front of a group of people, even though technically I'm recording this by myself and I'm technically just talking to myself, but I know other people are going to be watching this. So I was always afraid, being like, if I were to talk, how many people are going to notice that I'm like tripping over my words a lot and like stuttering and stuff like this? It really bothered me before, but now that I do it, especially when I live stream, it's more noticeable because I don't have to edit anything, right? I do it a lot, but I don't, you know, stop myself or feel embarrassed anymore. I just keep talking. That was one of my methods. So if anyone has a stutter, one of my methods of like getting over is just keep talking. Don't stop and be like, oh crap, like I messed up. I just keep going. Just keep talking. Like, I pretend like it didn't happen, because eventually you're gonna get used to just like keep on talking, and then your stutter will get less and less, which I've noticed that it's kind of like going away. It's still there obviously, but it's not as bad as it used to be. So that would be the most difficult thing that I found recording myself. Do you pee before showering or during? both. Sometimes I don't have any time and I'm like, I gotta pee, but I gotta take a shower. I'll just do it in the shower. You're cleaning yourself, so I don't think this is gross. You're cleaning yourself in the shower, okay? Worst not safe for a work experience in life. Not necessarily sexual, but it can also be. When I was 5 years old, playing around in the basement, and I fell over and landed on a glass table, which broke my head open. I cracked my head open, and that was a terrible experience because that was very painful, and it was in the back of my head. And to this day, I still get like phantom pains in the back of my head, like where the scar is. So yeah, that sucked. Are you a college student? If so, what's your major? I am no longer in school. I haven't been for a few years now, but when I was in college, I did take animation and art. Who is the most famous person you have ever met in your life or got in contact with? That would be Norman Reedus. I met him in 2012 at Fan Expo Canada, and it was because I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead at the time, and he played my favorite character, Daryl Dixon. He's the sweetest person. I had a video on my old channel, but I still have it, so I'll put it up.
What's up, cutie? I got this for you. I need your hair. Cute days? Oh my god, you're so talented. Holy balls. Wow. You're so good. Do I keep it? Yeah, they can either get one of these lines or your own line. Either or, they can cut out. No clothes. Thank you for my drawing. It's so good.
I'm fangirling so hard right now. He was the sweetest person ever. I drew him like a fan art of Daryl Dixon and I gave it to him, and he ended up like, oh my god, he's so nice. He complimented me, and then he ended up being like, I'm gonna put your picture right here beside me, and I was like, he's so nice. And it's really cool like seeing how it is now, because he's in Death Stranding and I played that game like a couple months ago, so it's really cool. So someone asked a bunch of questions about me and Adam, and again, I'm trying to save it for the video that we recorded, but I'll answer this since I get this asked a lot. How did Adam and I meet? We actually met online through a game. That's how we met. That's all I'm gonna say for now. Who are your biggest celebrity crushes? I have two big ones. Number one, who will always be number one to me, is Hugh Jackman. I've been in love with Hugh Jackman ever since I saw the X-Men movies when I was a little kid, and I saw him as Wolverine, and I'm like, that dude, I want to marry that dude. I really do love Hugh Jackman though. And the other one would be Emilia Clarke. I am absolutely in love with her, and like her personality is just very infectious when I watched her act or in interviews and stuff like that. She seems like a very sweet person, and also she's very pretty. So yeah, those are my two biggest celebrity crushes. Would you consider dating a genderqueer, gender fluid, or transgendered person? Yeah, I mean, I don't really judge based on like what your identity is. I judge basically on like what your personality is. So if you're a good person, or if we get along, or if you're a terrible person. Was your family religious, and are you religious? My family is religious. Since I come from a mixed background, there are two religions that are in my family. I mentioned earlier, Catholic and Hindu. So I grew up knowing both about them. Personally, I am not religious whatsoever, and I'm not sure if I ever will be again. And I can't even say if I'm actually atheist or not, because I've thought about it, like, am I actually atheist, or maybe I'm not, I don't know. So I kind of categorize myself as agnostic. What age did you lose your virginity? I am not going to go into detail because I do not want to be demonetized by YouTube, but I was 19 years old. What is your biggest fear? I think mine would be being alone. I don't really like being alone, just from experience of like when I was a kid, because I didn't really have a lot of friends when I was little, for a very long time. So being alone really sucks. How did you get into gaming, animation, and streaming? So gaming, it's always been in my life. My uncle and my mom actually introduced me to gaming because they're gamers as well, and I love telling stories. My favorite things to do is like write and doing art, and combining that together equals animation. I've always been a storyteller, and I think that's like telling in my videos as well, which leads me into how did I get into streaming and stuff. I love you know, discussing things. That's why I love making theory videos on my channel as well, because I'm very passionate about like gaming and stuff like that, and coming up with ideas is something that I love doing too. And it's very easy for me to express all of that when making videos and making like live streams and stuff like that, even though I know I talk a lot, I ramble way too much, but it's something that I like doing. So that's kind of how every single thing trickled into everything and how I ended up here. Does playing games for YouTube take away from the enjoyment or pleasure of playing games? Yeah, in a way, because now it's like work, when before when I played games it was just like a hobby or something I did for fun. I find it like complicated sometimes, because there are moments where I'm like, I kind of want to just play this like, you know, by myself, but a lot of people will ask me like, oh, can you do a let's play of this game? I really want to see you do a let's play of this. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I have to save it. So I end up not playing the games that I want to play offline. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it doesn't matter, just do it. But at the same time, that's kind of like what my job relies on, like me playing games or covering games. What was the saddest moment in my life? And I would probably say that this was actually pretty recently. This was just a couple of years ago. I actually became suicidal for a whole year, and it was very difficult dealing with that, because again, it was the time where I didn't tell anyone that I was experiencing like suicidal thoughts, so I just kind of kept it to myself, which is a freaking terrible idea. So I didn't let anyone know that I was suicidal, and it kind of took over my life, because I started obsessing over like, you know, the one thing that kept me distracted was doing YouTube. So I don't want anyone to ever experience what I experienced, dealing with those kinds of emotions. So I don't know. It's hard to talk about, because like, again, it's still something that I'm trying to like accept and like open up about. But yeah, dealing with that was tough. When was the first time you had a crush, and if so, how did it go? I was in elementary school. I think I was like 10 years old or something like that. I don't know if I should describe this person in so much detail, because I think they watch my videos, so this will be very awkward if they find out and they know it's them. But there was this guy in my class, and like I said earlier, I didn't really have a lot of friends in elementary school. I barely had any, and a lot of people were mean to me, but he was the one person who wasn't mean to me. He actually talked to me like once in a while, and I ended up having a crush on him, because I'm like, oh, he's nice to me and he's cute and he plays the guitar, so I'm like, oh, I kind of like him, but I never told him or anything like that. I was way too shy for that, and by the time I got in high school, I got over it. What is the most embarrassing thing I have ever done? There's a lot of things I have done very embarrassing in my life, but one that I remember, I don't know why I still remember this, but I was playing with my brother and like a bunch of the kids in the neighborhood, and there was a girl coming towards us down the street. I couldn't see who it was, but there was someone coming towards us, and one of the kids was just like, oh, hey, and said their name, and I thought it was another person who also lived on our street, and she was friends with me, and I was like, oh, it's her. I ran down the damn street to say hi to her, till I realized it was a different person. They just had the same name, and they didn't know me, and it was very awkward, so I had to walk all the way back and be like, hey, your friend's here. I'm going to answer this last question, and it is something that I also get a lot of for advice. How do I deal with myself, self-care, stuff like that? And again, this is different for every person, so take this with a grain of salt, if you will. What I tend to do, especially when I'm like extremely stressed or extremely upset or anything like that, music definitely saves me. I listen to a lot of music all the time. Even when I'm editing, I have it on in the background. Dealing with my anxiety, because I do tend to like panic a lot. It's gotten less now because I know how to deal with it, but there's a thing going around. I read that people, it's called a sensory exercise. So essentially what you do is close your eyes and name 5 things in the room that you remember. You say them out loud, and then say 5 smells, say 5 colors that you remember in the room, like what could describe the objects. Like, let's just say over here my walls are green, I'm in a green room right now, my microphone's right there, I have a computer, and this will help you ground you to like calm you the hell down. And it may take some time to practice, because obviously it's not going to like a cure for you or anything like that, but that is something that I do when I do start to have like panic attacks and stuff, or I start panicking. Talking also helps. Don't be afraid to like say like, hey, I'm not doing okay, is it okay if I talk with you? I always encourage that, you know, talk to a friend, talk to a family member. Other things I do is exercise, which I need to do more of, but exercising definitely does help. Also writing is something that I do, because I feel like a lot of people tend to do this because of social social media. They'll like blurb out all what's bothering them on Twitter or on like Facebook or something, when you don't really need to do that. I feel like it's more effective when you put it in a journal or something like that, because at least that way you kind of get it all out, but it's not like public. Does that make any sense? Because I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about mental health, but I don't feel like you should like just blurt out all your problems, because I feel like it would make it worse, especially because social media is such a like a web, which can spiral into something very terrible. So I recommend writing. That's something that I do too. So that is me answering a very personal question. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I answered your questions. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions. There was just like a lot of them. This was fun to do. I'm glad that I did it. I wasn't sure if I should or not, but hey, you know, once in a while, I just want to do like a vlogging kind of video. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more videos. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!